I've been using Windows computers my entire life, but 1 year ago I decided to buy a Mac. It changed my life. Since I bought a Mac, everything in my life has gotten cleaner and more efficient. I've realized the benefits of minimalism and have even started journaling and meditating. Okay, I haven't really started meditating, but the MacBook has made my life easier in a lot of ways. Let's start off with going over the MacBook I ended up buying. This is the 16-inch MacBook Pro M1 Pro laptop with a 1TB hard drive and 16GB of RAM. So pretty much the base 16-inch MacBook Pro. The cost? $3,000 Canadian, which is not cheap. So the next logical questions might be, well, one, why upgrade at all? And two, why a Mac? I mean, there are surely cheaper options. To answer the first question, it really came down to starting this YouTube channel. I started shooting and editing a lot of videos, and at the time I was using Premiere Pro on my old PC. The PC that I was using wasn't terrible, it was a lower end gaming PC that I had built back in 2016, and for what I was using it for, it worked perfectly fine. That is, until I started using Premiere more. Once I started dropping my 4K 10-bit Sony and GoPro footage, Premiere just chugged, it was so slow. I started having to use proxy files just to make editing doable, and I realized that it was time for an upgrade. I basically had two requirements for a replacement computer. The first being that it had to be fast enough to edit videos efficiently. And the second being that it had to be a laptop because I wanted something that I was going to be able to bring with me when I went traveling. The fact that it had to be a laptop made a big difference. If it was a machine that could just live at home, I probably would have made the decision to build another custom rig. As for the same price, I could probably build a machine that would blow this one out of the water, at least on paper. So the fact that I wanted a laptop made going with a Mac a lot easier. I've never really been too impressed by Windows laptops, to be honest, and to get a performance laptop like the Dell XPS or the Asus ZenBook or the Razer Blade, you're getting up to a cost that's pretty similar to the MacBook Pro anyway. Sure, you may be spending a little bit more for a MacBook Pro, but after using this thing for almost a year now, I can happily say that it's worth every penny. So let's get into some of the things that I love about the MacBook and a couple things that I don't like so much. A year ago, I knew absolutely nothing about Macs and Mac OS. In the first few weeks of using this thing, I had to Google everything from how to change my desktop wallpaper to installing fonts to how to take a screenshot. I basically had to start from scratch. This had been what had been holding me back from getting a Mac for years. I just didn't want to have to learn a whole new ecosystem. But surprisingly, it actually wasn't that bad, and it's one of the things that I love about Mac OS in general. It's just very intuitive to use. Just like the iPhone makes it super easy to see all of your applications, the same goes with macOS. The settings menu is simple and easy to navigate, and even doing things like installing and removing programs is as simple as dragging and dropping either into the applications folder for installing, or just dragging the application to the trash to remove it. No more going into the add and remove programs to remove a program like you have to do in Windows. Dragging and dropping isn't just limited to applications, but also files and photos on the internet. It's a very easy way to move files around, and you can even get little utility apps that make stuff like this even easier. Probably my favorite thing about the Mac and Apple products in general is how well they work with other Apple products. I also have an iPhone, so something I'm constantly doing is airdropping photos and videos between my phone and my Mac. I can't emphasize enough just how useful this is, and it's something that I use on almost a daily basis. You also have iCloud, which can sync between all your devices. Calls and messages can show up on your phone, your Mac, your watch, all together in this little Apple world. The MacBook Pro on its own is still a really nice laptop, and macOS in general is a nice operating system, but it's the way that these devices work together that really make Apple products shine. Jumping back to the operating system, there are a couple more things that are just... You can preview any file, photo, or video by hitting the spacebar. This is a really handy feature and something that I wish existed on the Windows side, as yes, I still have to use Windows daily at work. Spotlight search. By hitting Command and spacebar, you pull up Spotlight, which allows you to search your system for applications, files, or even do things like basic math. This is similar to Windows search, but after using both, Spotlight in my opinion just feels cleaner. Alright, so although there are plenty of things to love about Mac and Mac OS after a lifetime of using Windows PCs and laptops, there are a couple of things about macOS that just bother me. The first being the trackpad, and this is just a personal preference, but I am not a fan at all. I'm a mouse guy. I've always preferred using a mouse, but aside from that, I really don't like how there isn't an option to right-click on the trackpad. By default, you can hold Control and then left-click, which makes it a right-click, but I'd prefer if there was a dedicated right-click on the trackpad itself. My next gripe with macOS is something I hope some of you more experienced macOS users can help me out with. On a Windows computer, when you have your laptop plugged into a docking station and you have multiple monitors connected to that dock, you can have a bunch of windows open, maximize full screen, and you can drag them between the different monitors. Maybe there's something that I'm missing, but when I have my MacBook hooked up to my docking station, which has another monitor hooked up to it, if I have a Finder window or an internet browser, say, maximized to my laptop screen, and then I want to drag it to my external monitor, I can't do it. I have to then shrink it down to a smaller window size that's not maximized to then drag it over to my external monitor. I don't know why you have to do this. It seems like something you should be able to do. Hopefully one of you guys can help me out with this because this is something that's annoyed me since day one. So let me know in the comments if there's a workaround to this or if there's just a better way to do it in general. Aside from these couple little annoyances, I've been super happy with the switch from Windows to Mac. In summary, if you're in the market for a performance laptop and you have the money to spend, you're not going to be disappointed with a MacBook Pro, especially if you already have other Apple devices. That's it for this video. I hope it was helpful. If it was, be sure to subscribe as it really does help spread this video to other people that can benefit from it. I'll see you guys in the next one.